blood, sweat, and tears is what it takes to live an extraordinary life. This is a lie that has been told to us by a negative bias. Negative bias exists in all humans for millions of years. It's an evolutionary mechanism that has been built into our brains to protect us, to safeguard us through millions of years of evolution in the natural environment that we lived in for so many years. The negative bias works on, in an environment, there are two kinds of stimuli that we receive. One is a negative stimuli and one is a positive stimuli. And our brain ended up having better comprehension, better processing for negative stimuli. Our brain built deeper memories for negative stimuli. Our brain was more sensitive to negative stimuli. And that is the reason why we survived for so many millions of years. So during evolution, when we had negative stimuli, that is dangers in the environment, for example, getting attacked by a tiger, getting bitten by a venomous snake, or not being able to find the next meal through famines that lasted more than years. All these negative stimuli, because we had a negative bias to these negative stimuli, we could survive for millions of years, where we had these immediate short-term dangers in our environment which required the flight or fight mode in our body. Fast forward millions of years. Today we don't have a need for this negative bias anymore for our survival. A lot of these short-term dangers have gone away from our environment. We are a bigger threat to wild animals than wild animals are threats to us. Today there is more disease caused due to excess of food than due to lack of food. There is no more a need for us to have a negative bias in the present day and age. But we have evolved our brain, which has evolved over millions of years, having this negative bias inside us. To survive, you need a negative bias. But if you want to thrive in the world and you want to be extraordinary, you need a positive bias. The great Roman philosopher Cicero said that the biggest positive stimulation in the world can be through gratitude. Gratitude is the mother of all virtues. All our ancient texts, be it the Bible, be it the Bhagavad Gita or the Quran, they all mention the biggest virtue of all is gratitude. Be it the great minds of the world, Mahatma Gandhi, Nelson Mandela, Mother Teresa, they all speak about the power of gratitude, and gratitude is the single most powerful positive stimuli in our environment. And the best part of this is that even science proves that gratitude has the maximum positive effect on not only our mind but also on our body. To understand the effects of science on gratitude, we'll have to understand what is the one most common goal that all human beings on the world have. What is one common goal that every human being in the world shares with each other? One common goal that we all share with each other, and that is the pursuit of happiness. Every goal, every desire is related to an outcome, and that outcome gives us a feeling of happiness. So goal or desire is just a means to an end. The end is happiness. Everything we do, everything we pursue, every desire we have is only to be happy. So a desire creates an outcome creates a feeling of gratitude, and the gratitude is what makes us happy. How does the science work in this case? So when we have a feeling of gratitude, there are certain neurotransmitters, certain hormones that get released in our body. So for example, there's a neurotransmitter called serotonin. Serotonin gets released in our body that makes us happy when we achieve a desire or we achieve a goal and we feel gratitude. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter that makes us motivated. Dopamine makes us motivated whenever we achieve our goal and we feel gratitude. And interesting, our stress hormone, cortisol, also comes down because the mind is telling the body that right now you have achieved the outcome you wanted and there's no need to be in the flight or fight mode. The cortisol levels come down, and most interestingly, the IgA levels go up. IgA is a protein called immunoglobulin A. The IgA levels go up in the body because the mind is sending a signal to the body that you have achieved the desired outcome. The stress hormones have come down It's time to now repair and rebuild the body. And that's where the IgA levels go up, and the IgA levels increase the immunity of the body. In an interesting study done by Dr. Joe Dispenza, on the effects of gratitude on the brain. In his study, the participants practiced gratitude 4 times a day for 15 minutes for only 3 days. And the levels of IgA, immunoglobulin A, went up 50% in just 3 days. It's like taking a flu shot. It's like having a flu shot that fights bacteria and viruses inside your body. So you can see that the effects on the mind and the body proved through different brain scans, to different biochemistry tests in the body, proves that gratitude is the most powerful positive stimuli in the world. And going forward, how do you build this system of gratitude to achieve whatever you want? What is interesting is that the brain doesn't know that if you're having this emotion from an outcome. So you have an outcome, you have a desire, you achieve the desire, you have an outcome, and you have an emotion of gratitude, and that's when these hormones and these chemicals get released in your body. But the brain doesn't know that the outcome has happened or not. The brain only knows the emotion that you're feeling. The brain is not aware that this emotion is coming due to the outcome happening, or you just feeling the emotion. And that's where you can start feeling gratitude, and you can start getting the benefits of gratitude even without the outcome happening. So if you thank in advance and you feel good in advance for what you want and you give gratitude to it, you will still get the benefits in your brain of these neurotransmitters and your stress hormones coming down. And when your stress hormones come down, you get more clarity of thought and you can work towards your goals. And when you get dopamine, the dopamine neurotransmitter makes you motivated to go after whatever you have set out in your mind. That's why we say thoughts are powerful. Thoughts drive our actions, which drive our results. And this is very clear from the saying Mahatma Gandhi said, that our thoughts drive our words drive our actions, and our actions drive our behavior drives our habits drives our character, and our character drives our destiny. So by building these thoughts of gratitude, we can change our destiny to being extraordinary. Now the interesting part is, but how do we do this? We have the knowledge, but how do we make this a part of our life every day? One of the greatest books on gratitude written by the author Rhonda Byrne's, The Secret, gives a process about how do we inculcate the habit of gratitude into our life. It's called the magic rock. But before a lot of skeptics might write me off being insane to talk about a magic rock, let me tell you the science behind the magic rock. There was a psychologist called Pavlov who did an experiment on the human psychology, which is considered one of the first experiments on which all the human psychology has been built thereafter. In all the introductory psychology classes, this is the first psychology lesson you will learn about human psychology. Pavlov did his experiment in 3 segments, in 3 phases. In the first phase, he had dogs and he got them food. The food was a positive stimuli from the environment, and the dogs started salivating whenever the food came out in the first phase. So the food used to come out, the dogs used to start salivating. The food used to come out, the dogs used to start salivating. The salivation of the dogs was a response to the positive stimuli. It was an unconditional response. In the second phase of the experiment, he tied in the food, but he also rang a bell every time the food came out for the dogs. So the food came out, the bell rang, the food came out, and the dogs started salivating and they ate the food. Again the bell rang, the food came out, the dogs started salivating, the dogs ate the food. And interesting, in the third phase, he only rang the bell. He removed the food, he only rang the bell. And the bell was a neutral stimuli, which had nothing to do with the positive stimuli, which was the food. But the dog's unconditional response was that they started salivating even when the bell was there, in the absence of the food. And this is the whole theory on which the magic rock theory is built. So in the book, The Secret, which is one of the best-selling books on gratitude, there's a theory of the magic rock. The magic rock is the neutral stimuli, which you hold in your hand every day, and you start thinking about gratitude, and you start giving gratitude every day. You start your day in the morning by giving gratitude, and throughout the day, as you go across your day, you give gratitude for the good things that happened, and at night, again, you give gratitude. And slowly and steadily, this rock becomes a part of your life. And you start feeling gratitude only by seeing it, by touching it, and by feeling it. And there have been stories in the book of people who have been able to cure incurable diseases through the power of the gratitude rock. And that's how it becomes a magical rock, because it makes your brain attuned to feeling of gratitude every time you see it or feel it. And that's how it works in the neuroscience. And that's how your neural pathways keep developing and becoming stronger and stronger for giving gratitude every time you see, feel, or touch this rock. And that's called neuroplasticity, where your brain develops new pathways which work much faster, because whenever we practice, it makes it easier. Practice makes it easier and faster. So now we know why we should perform gratitude, how we can perform gratitude. But what should we perform gratitude about? It's said there are a million reasons for us to perform gratitude. One of the reasons that I find for myself personally very powerful is that I woke up today. Do you know there are thousands of people who did not even wake up today? We are so lucky that we even woken up today and made it to this day. For example, let's keep a positive outcome, a lottery. You win a lottery ticket, you feel a lot of gratitude towards it. But what if I gave you a lottery ticket and I told you I would exchange this lottery ticket for you not waking up the next day? You would never choose this lottery ticket, even if it was worth 10 crores or 100 crores. So you can exchange this lottery ticket in your mind for you, because it's equivalent or more, waking up in the morning is more powerful in terms of gratitude than even this lottery ticket. So you can exchange the feeling of winning a lottery ticket with the feeling that you get and every day you wake up in the morning, because your morning is worth more than the value of that lottery ticket. Similarly, there are many ways and many processes to feel gratitude. One thing that really stands out for me is the movie Pollyanna, a Disney classic movie in which Pollyanna, a young girl, she asked her father, who's working in a missionary, to get her a doll. Her father couldn't afford a doll for her. So he asked the missionary to send it in the missionary shipments to her. And when the missionary shipments came after a long time, instead of a doll, she found crutches. But she had this game that she used to play, and it was called the glad game, where in everything they should try to look out for what was positive in it. So when the crutches came, she was like, what do I feel grateful about receiving crutches? She's like, I'm grateful that I don't have to use the crutches. And that's how she turned a negative outcome into a positive outcome. That's why a coin has two sides. For every negative outcome, there is also something positive linked to it. If we didn't know the night, we wouldn't have known what the day was like. If we didn't know what sadness was, we wouldn't know what happiness is. If there was no devil, there would have been no God. So it's important that in every negative situation, we can look for something positive. Because if there was no negative, there would never have been a positive. So that's how the glad game of Pollyanna was played. And this is a great way to change your mindset, to think about positivity in a negative situation. So all this shows that the power of gratitude can completely change your life, can change your brains, your bodies, and help you to achieve every outcome that you desire. So to become extraordinary, have an attitude, but have an attitude of gratitude. Thank you.